Welcome to QR Bill, Leveraging QR Codes for Billing and Payment. This is a Nacha Council for Electronic Billing and Payment informational webinar. Today we're going to talk about the QR Bill initiative. QR Bill is a unique industry approach to using QR codes for consumer billing and payment designed to enhance data quality and the growth of electronic bills and electronic bill payments using mobile technology. This webinar is a series of 5 separate videos hosted by subject matter experts which will provide the viewers with a background on QR codes and their usage, details regarding the QR bill specification, biller and bank implementation goals and perspectives and considerations, and finally, an invitation to you to participate in the QR bill industry evaluation sponsored by Nacha. I'm Robert Unger, Senior Director with Nacha. I serve as the C2B and B2B Bill Payment and B2B Product Manager at Nacha, and in this capacity, I also lead the Council for Electronic Billing and Payment, which are the folks that develop the QR bill specification. For the past 18 years, the CEBP has brought together industry experts in the electronic billing and payment industry. The QR bill initiative is the most recent project which we are working on to help promote electronic billing and payment. With me as well to discuss QR codes today is Rich Langan, Senior Product Manager with DST Output. Rich has over 10 years experience at DST Output managing activities to provide leading-edge customer communication solutions to DST Output's print and electronic clients. While at DST, he has helped to develop, market, or support a wide range of solutions including electronic presentment and payments, electronic archival, mobile platforms, QR codes, production reporting, and the USPS Intelligent Mail Barcode. As I mentioned, the Nacha Council for Electronic Billing and Payment promotes B2C and B2B electronic billing and payment through education, best practices, research, and resource development. Over time, we've tracked a couple of key issues related to this. One, it's kind of interesting to note that despite the availability of electronic bills over the past 10 or 15 years, really billers experience only an average of about 26.6% e-bill adoption across all industries. That means the rest of the customers are getting paper bills. In addition to that, we've noticed that with respect to electronic payments, while electronic payments surpassed paper bill payments in the mid-2000s, we're seeing both an increase in the volume and the rate of bill payment exceptions. We think that there are about 130 million bill payment exceptions costing the industry about $720 million in addition to the poor customer experience. We define a bill payment exception as the biller has the money but is unable to apply a credit to a customer's account. With those issues in mind, we developed the QR bill specification to provide a bridge for paper customers to become electronic customers through an open specification for a number of use cases, including bill payment, bill view, payee enrollment, and e-bill enrollment. Real quick, QR bill, we're imagining a world where consumers can quickly make a mobile payment at the location of their choice, either a biller direct site or a bank site. We know consumers like to do both. We can provide a way that consumers can easily and accurately set up payees. It will not require any rekeying of data, which is the major source of errors and the cause of bill payment exceptions. And consumers can also engage in other functions that the channel provider allows. View e-bills, sign up for e-bills, make a bill payment. For billers, really we're looking at ways to help billers increase traffic to their websites. And to increase electronic payments and e-bill signups, and to reduce these bill payment exceptions, which are very costly. And for financial institutions and financial institution aggregators, we really want to provide an awesome experience using mobile bill pay. We want to be able to leverage the mobile technology that's out there. Of course, similar to the billers, we want to be able to increase electronic bill payments and e-bill signups and to reduce those bad bill payment exceptions as well. So I want to tell you a little bit about the QR bill specification journey. We started over a year ago. We drafted some initial guidelines which were circulated amongst the Council for Electronic Billing and Payment members. We finalized a copy and circulated that within the membership in 2012. We do have a website that we developed. I encourage you guys to take a look at the website and the resources we have there. And finally, earlier this year, we announced the availability of the guidelines to the greater industry and the world, and it's just been amazing to hear about all the inquiries we've gotten worldwide about this initiative. Lots of things that people are excited about with respect to QR codes, and lots of eyes watching what's going on here with the QR bill specification. And so along with that, we launched what we're calling the industry evaluation, where we're looking to test the QR bill specification, and we're looking to engage you in particular in that effort, and I'm going to have more information on that on the 5th video. But for now, let me turn it over to Rich Langan to talk more about QR codes.
Thank you, Rob. I appreciate the introduction. Since the QR code plays such an integral part in the overall QR bill program, we thought it would be a good idea to start with an overview of the technology of the QR code and give you some information on it. So first of all, the question is, what are QR codes? And I think we've all seen QR codes out in the general population, whether it be on retail packaging or whether it be in a public transportation site or advertisements in a magazine or other printed materials. And really what the QR code is a quick response code. It's a 2D barcode that was created by Denso Wave back in 1994, Denso Wave being a subsidiary of Toyota, and they used it for parts inventory tracking within their manufacturing environment to quickly and accurately scan those parts. There was a patent that was originally filed on this, but it has never been enforced since that date. It is designed specifically to be read by a portable or mobile device, in this case either a smartphone or a tablet, and it does require a reader or an app to be downloaded to that mobile device, and that app can be easily downloaded from any of the app stores depending upon your mobile device. The vast majority of those apps are free. And the nice part about the QR code is that it allows a document to be extended by virtue of linking to a URL with additional electronic information that basically gives infinite real estate. So there's tremendous benefits associated with it in providing promotional or educational information. As I said before, the QR code is a 2D barcode, unlike a 1D barcode, which we've all seen being the UPC codes that you would see on retail environments. And it is in part of this family that the QR code belongs, which is also inclusive of TAG, Aztec, and Datamatrix barcodes. You may have seen TAG in use in a number of magazines. USA Today used it for a while on their first page before switching over to QR codes. Aztec is often used in airplane tickets and boarding passes, and Datamatrix is used in a wide variety of different manufacturing and production environments. By far and away, the QR code is the most popular 2D barcode. The overall makeup of the QR code, or anatomy, if you will, if you look at a QR code, it looks basically like a checkerboard. It's comprised of white and black or dark and light spaces. Those individual black elements are called modules, or you might refer to them as a pixel. It also incorporates 3 different anchors, those anchors being the square blocks that are shown in the upper left, upper right, lower left. And what they do is serve to orient that QR code, because a QR code can be read in any orientation. It can be read right side up, upside down, left to right, right to left. And the anchor points tell the reader where to start reading the information that's encoded in the QR code itself. And the last element being here is the quiet zone. The quiet zone is really the white space that surrounds the QR code. That's very important so that when the QR code is scanned, the reader is not confused by extraneous symbols or text or verbiage or pictures that surround the QR code. In our specification, we recommend a minimum of 1/8 of an inch of white space on all 4 sides. The details, well, the QR code really is kind of a marvel of technology in the fact that in a very small space, a lot of information can be encoded, up to over 7,000 numeric characters or 4,296 alphanumeric characters. Typically what you'll see these comprised is in a black and white or high contrast color. You won't have a lot of definition of those individual pixels. It can be produced either as a static QR code, meaning that every recipient receives the exact same QR code and is linked to the same URL or provides the same information, or it can be personalized, meaning the elements within it are dynamic to the recipient. So this would allow linkage, for example, to a personalized URL or to transfer account data into an application. It also incorporates error correction. And what this error correction does is should the QR code get slightly smudged or torn, depending upon the level of error correction, that code will still be readable. The one caveat on this is that the anchors have to be in the clear, and the reason being is without that, the reader won't be able to orient the QR code. And finally, a very nice element associated with this is by virtue of linking to a URL, you have access to a full suite of web analytics that you would normally have to identify usage of that particular QR code. So QR readers, there's a bunch of them out there. I put a list up on the screen there. Over the time in the last 2 years that I've been working with QR codes, there's been a wide variety of performance on these readers, but really within the last 6 months to a year, they've clustered very closely as far as performance in any of these QR readers would provide acceptable performance for the QR bill. Some of them also not only scan the QR code, but some of the other 2D barcodes that I previously mentioned. Now, to generate a QR code, there's a couple of different ways. If you're generating on a one-off scenario, you can go to any number of websites that allow you to generate these for free. I've put 4 example ones up there that you can go ahead and access and play with. The QR codes can be generated on the fly, and these would be static QR codes. For our application, what we're going to be using is document formatting tools that would be used by your print provider, and these tools could include applications such as HP Extreme or Sophos or other ones that allow you to create dynamic QR codes. So the information in the QR code that the recipient receives is unique to them. And you might be wondering who scans QR codes. Well, the answer to that is quite simply pretty much everyone, and based on the information that's provided by a couple of different sources here, you can see that it spans age demographics, gender, as well as even the operating system or phones that individuals are using. So it is applicable to the wide population. It also, of interest, is used not only by mobile devices in a mobile environment, but also, as you can see from the stat in the lower part of the screen, ComScore had reported about 60% of people are actually scanning QR codes from home. So it's not just simply at a point of sale or in a train station, but also documents at home, which is great application toward a build scenario. And, of course, it's used across multiple industries, as I mentioned at the start of the webinar, is that we've seen it in point-of-sale applications or advertising, but also for applications in the food and beverage industry, for couponing, social applications, and a number of others. So it's really quite ubiquitous. So the last item I'd like to mention is improving QR code scan rates. And as I had mentioned, the QR readers themselves have gotten very, very good. Phones have increased in performance as well. But these are some items that you want to keep in consideration. One is the relative size. And the QR spec for the specification for the QR bill actually identifies a recommended size. You don't want to go too small on that, even though many phones have very high-resolution cameras. What you want to do is you want to make that scan as easy as possible for the end user, so you want to have it at a minimum size. Density, likewise, if you put a lot of information in the QR code, the number of little pixels in that QR code are going to get much greater, and the scan can be a little bit more difficult. And again, the QR spec provides a reasonable payload to be scanned. Contrast is very important. We would recommend that you produce black on white, but it can also be produced in color as long as that color is high contrast. So dark blue as opposed to a lighter blue, for example. You want to avoid any glossy substrates, meaning any sort of coated papers, because of the light reflection off that paper, it may interfere with the scan. As mentioned before, the white space around the QR code is important. And selection of the QR reader, not so much important anymore. The vast majority of them will perform just fine. And these are ones that would be downloaded individually by the end user, a free QR reader. For some applications, you may choose to use a reader that's embedded in an app that you provide for your customers. And then lastly, autofocus cameras. This is just really a consideration for some cameras that have a limited focal length. For example, they cannot focus closer than maybe 4 inches to the page. And it's very simply resolved by pulling back the phone from the paper just an inch or two so you get a nice clear image. So we provide some additional information here. If you have any inquiries relative to the QR bill or the spec, you may contact Rob Unger at the email address shown here. We have several online resources using the URLs that are displayed on the screen. And then lastly, we have a couple of videos, one that is hosted on Vimeo that you can view to see an overview of the QR bill, and then another one that will be coming up in section 4 of this video series. So with that, I'm going to turn it back to Rob for some closing remarks.
Thanks, Rich. Great background on QR codes. You know, I see them everywhere, newspapers, magazines, billboards. The QR code readers, easy to download, very easy to use. And what we want to do in the next video is Jane Wallace is going to explain the QR bill specification and how you're going to soon be able to see the QR bill spec and the QR code that compromises the QR bill spec on your consumer bills. Thank you very much.